Here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Well, howdy, folks. My name is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I'm Keenan Diaz.
And we're the hosts of The Exorcist Minute, a show where we examine, extrapolate, and excavate the scariest movie of all time.
Each episode covers a single minute of William Friedkin's 1973 horror masterpiece, The Exorcist.
If you like deep dives, this show is the deepest.
Did you know the film's iconic theme song, Tubular Bells, wasn't written specifically for the movie?
Or that the 1973 audience members were throwing up and fainting in the theater before they ever got a glimpse of the demon?
Or what about all the crazy on-set mishaps, cast injuries, the director firing real guns?
Ooh. Ever wonder where Ouija boards came from or how they got their name? How about some history on the Catholic Church or the Roman rite of exorcism? Or maybe we can tempt you with some juicy demonology lore. Did you know that Pazuzu had an ex-wife? Find The Exorcist Minute on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to your shows or at theexorcistminute.com. Until next time, folks,
the power of The Exorcist compels you.
Coming up on The Devil's Details, what are you gonna pick?
Evil Pockets.
Dante's Inferno, Part 5. Good morning, Star Lovelies, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Keenan Diaz.
And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. And just a reminder, today's episode was originally recorded as bonus content for our first podcast, The Exorcist Minute, so I think we should hand it over. Take it away, past Lester and Keenan. Folks, today we are continuing our descent into Dante's Inferno, picking up with Canto 17. But before that, Keenan, what do you remember about our last episode?
You know, you warned me right before we started recording that you were going to ask me, and I was like, no, we just recorded it. We took like 10 minutes off, and now we're doing the next one. Okay. So, Dante is down in hell with Virgil, and they are going through successive circles of hell. Okay, so we left the suicides, like the violence against self. We're in the seventh circle of hell, which is violence. We've left the suicide part, suicide virus, and then we find this desert, big desert, and there is snow that is going down silently, but it's actually little flames.
Yes,
and in this world, there are people who are sort of they've been hit by the snow and they've lost their will to move on, and they're just kind of like in the fetal position on the sand.
Yeah.
But then they also run into a group of people who are walking, and one of them is Dante's old mentor, Brunetto. Help me with Brunetto's last name.
Brunetto Latini. Yeah.
Latini, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Brunetto, you're in here," and he's like actually really reverent towards him because he's like, "Oh, I'm surprised you're in hell. I love you so much, and like you're a great man, etc." But you're in hell for being a sodomite. And he like just tells that to everyone. Like, we got Bruno over here. He's a sodomite. And then so Bruno is part of this group that has to keep on walking, they say, because if they slow down, then the weight of the snow fires will put them into the fetal position, and they'll have to stay there forever. And so they're walking through there, and Dante's getting a lot of advice from him, and he's really being reverent, like it's student-master relationship.
Yeah.
And then they take leave of them, and they run into a bunch of other people, other Florentines, including Jacopo Rusticucci.
Yeah,
Rusticucci. And then a bunch of other people, and they're like, and he's like, "Oh, you're Guelphs, you're from Florence, and you're really great, and they're also sodomites, by the way. All these three guys over here, they're sodomites." And everyone else is like, "Yeah, that's why we're in here.
Yeah.
That's why we're all here." And so then they get to the edge. So there's more, a lot of sympathy for them. They get to the edge of sheet 7. The circle 7, and Virgil is like, "Hey, give me this electrical cord you got tied around your belt."
Right, because if you remember, folks, right, Dante forgot to unplug his charger back in Limbo. And it's just been making a long trail all the way to circle 7.
Yeah. And Dante's like, "What are you doing with my cord, man?" And Virgil's like, "Oh, you won't even fucking believe this." And he throws it off the waterfall, and he's tugging like forever, and he's like, Just you wait, man.
Yeah, this is the part of the Dante's Inferno video game that I'm not a huge fan of. This little side quest of the fishing side quest. This is
So anyways, yeah, Virgil's pulling, like, yeah, he's like fished. He's using Dante's belt cord to fish something up from the waterfall, and he's like really playing it up. He's like, you cannot believe what I've got here. Like, don't come look at it. Wait until I pull it all the way up here. Yeah.
Right. And then Dante goes on to like describe the thing that he's seeing like rise up out of the depths, right? But he does the same thing. He's like, oh, readers, you won't believe, right? What an asshole! Like not actually letting us. But then, folks, listeners, we play the asshole card too, because
we've done the same thing.
We did not tell you until now.
Wait, we got to wait till the next episode.
Yeah. So
which for you is like weeks away.
Right. Or well, a week.
A week, yeah.
Yeah, a week, yeah.
And it must be really annoying to have all of these interruptions of suspense of what this thing is, because man,
yeah, this thing,
man, is
let me tell you, right? But yeah, so we meet. Oh, actually, Keenan, you forgot to mention. No, for real. You forgot to mention Capaneus.
I left the part. Oh, right. So we went to, besides violence against yourself, we also had this we're in the circle of blasphemy. And so sodomy is part of the blasphemy circle. And then we also have this sub-circle within the blasphemy circle that is about violence, or not violence, pride against God, right? And so Capaneus
violence against God, I guess.
I guess so.
He challenges him to a duel.
And God at that point is Jove, who is Zeus, right? The Roman version of Zeus. And so he's like, hey, you want to step outside, bro? And he goes and steps outside, and Zeus instantly lights him on fire with a bolt of lightning, and he dies. And it's sent straight to hell.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll never not be funny to me. That's just like, just all you're puffing up and all you're preening is like, you're posing, and then, and that's it. All right. Love it. Okay, but yes, okay. The folks, and thank you, Keenan, for that marvelous recap. Folks, this is the moment you've been waiting for, right? So we are now in Canto 17, and we meet this monster, this creature that has risen up out of the abyss. This is Geryon or Geryon. I'm going to go both ways on this. He's from Greek mythology, but like he's actually a relatively minor character in Greek mythology compared to the ones that we're a little bit more familiar with. Probably the most famous appearance of Geryon is as the 10th labor in the 12 labors of Hercules or Heracles, I guess. He is the grandson of Medusa and the nephew of Pegasus.
I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if we want to think about that.
Yeah, well, remember Pegasus and Chrysaor, the guy's father. They sprung from Medusa's head, they sprung from Medusa's dead body after she was slain. Right?
Oh, so that counts as a birth, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then Chrysaor got with a sea nymph and made Geryon. So there we go. Right.
So this was a real blast for the past for me, because it reminded me of this sort of buried memory I have.
Oh.
So in 11th grade, I took creative writing from my teacher at high school. Ooh. And we read this book that I think about all the time, but I couldn't remember the name of it. Huh. And so this time I was like, oh wait, I need to look this up because this is for the show. And so it's a book from 1998 by Anne Carson called The Autobiography of Red. Ooh. And it is like a modern retelling of Geryon.
Really?
Like, so it's like Geryon and his story growing up, and he, instead of being slayed by Hercules, he is in a like high school relationship with Hercules, and Hercules breaks up with him.
Huh.
And so the whole thing is like this metaphor of like what happens when you're the monster to Hercules. Hercules has broken up with you, and everyone remembers you as like, oh, you're Hercules' ex-boyfriend, and how terrible you are, and like you're this this monster because of like your parents are monsters and your brothers are monsters, and now you're like this villain for all time because Hercules is more popular than you, and he breaks up with you, and like who are you after all that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think about I think about that story all the time, because it was really impactful for me as a young writer of like taking source material and then not being faithful or fidelitous, like taking the ideas that are interesting to this author Anne Carson and like then what can she do with it, right?
Ooh, I really like that.
Yeah, so a really minor character in Greek mythology, but a big character in my life as a writer.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so our teacher, who is so cool that I don't remember her last name. I remember her first name is Jamie.
Okay.
No, like she was like a cool teacher. She was like a cool
Okay.
young teacher. So our teacher Jamie, whose last name I don't know, Miss whatever.
Yeah.
She like made us find other mythology stories and then adapt them. Like that was one of our assignments. Was to take
that is really cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then like sometimes, you know, it'd be okay. It's cool if you like have little Easter eggs or people who know the story, or you don't have to. Or you can do whatever you want with it. It was really eye opening.
I like that. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Keenan.
Yeah, and now Dante has adapted him quite a lot in his own.
Yeah, this is a very kind of like this is not the Geryon of Greek mythology. This is this is specifically Dante's Geryon, right? So like in all the depictions and descriptions I've seen outside of Dante, like he's described as having like 3 heads and 3 bodies, which like that was really confusing. Like it just had me thinking of this guy that was 3 guys, right?
Yeah, I found in his Wikipedia article there's a statue where he has 3 of a lot of things.
Okay, it's one of those statues. Okay. Gotcha.
3 heads and other and miscellanea.
Yeah. So like 6 heads, basically.
Lester.
Hey, right? This is an educational show, folks. But like, yeah, if you look at the artistic depictions of like the Greek Geryon, like you'll see something like a single torso with like 3 pairs of arms and legs and also 3 heads, right? So I guess that's what he's supposed to look like in Greek mythology. However, here in Dante's story, he is completely different. Like, and I don't know if this is like Dante's doing, or maybe when the myths got Christianized, Geryon like also underwent a transformation, right? Like I'm leaning more towards like Dante needed a scary flying monster.
But why didn't he call it scary flying monster of Dante's own creation? He's relying on he's surfing on top of the existing IP of it being Greek mythology. So
yeah, this thing looks like nothing else created ever, right? Like he could just call it Scarion. You know, like call it whatever you want, Dante, because it's so far removed from the actual Geryon that like I don't even know, like, you know, you call this Pegasus, right? Like actually that's even closer because it's like it's got, you know, 4 legs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It flies.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, so Dante needed it, and so, you know, into the Inferno it goes. But yeah. So now before they leave, the boys spy a few sinners who are like constantly trying to brush off the flames and the burning sand of the desert, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. Did we skip where we describe what he looks like here?
Oh yeah, no, we never talked about it. Yeah, okay.
I guess I just assumed that we had that somewhere. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think we did.
Okay. Yeah, so here, I'll just take up from what you said there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have to be nice to Dante because he didn't have the internet. So, like, when we're reading this, we say, oh, what does Geryon look like? So he is more of this, like, chimerical sort of thing. He's like a mishmash of stuff.
It's exactly a chimera type thing.
Yeah. So he doesn't have 3 heads at all. He doesn't have 3 bodies. He's not one person in 3 bodies. He's like, he's got dragon wings, first of all. I've seen it described that he has the body of a wyvern, but that's just a dragon, isn't it?
Okay, folks, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think a wyvern is different from a dragon because a wyvern only has 2 legs and then wings. So it's like a dragon has 4 legs and then wings on its back, but a wyvern has it's like its arms or its wings, and then it has legs.
Okay, so it doesn't have little. I get in fights with my boyfriend. We don't fight a lot, but every once in a while, you know, one of us will call our cat's front legs hands.
Oh,
you know?
Right. Right.
And like, they're not hands. Like, this is what we fight about. So the little dragon's hands at the front. So a wyvern doesn't have dragon's hands.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I see.
So wyvern only has 2 legs and wings, yeah.
Gotcha. Because, like, you know, a cat is better than a dog, and I'll say that on the podcast. Because now we're like 110 episodes in. If you don't like this, but like, no. They're made for different things is the point, right? Like a dog's hands are not made to pick things up. So a dog's hands are a dog's front feet, which again we still call hands. Like,
right.
They're just for walking. Where a cat uses its front feet to do all sorts of
things,
picking things up and poking at things and prodding things and
scratching things.
Yeah, that's true. And scratching things. Like one of my cats can pick up treats in his hand like an apple and bite it.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So like my sister's dog can't do that. So
yeah. Dogs don't. You don't think of dogs as like scratching. Like dogs don't scratch, right?
So you rarely hear people say that that's its hands.
Yeah,
like a dog's hands in the front, right?
Right. Well, Keenan, you rarely hear people say that that's the cat's hands and just.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Go look online. People say that all the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we fight about that.
I love peering into into your domestic squabbles,
Yeah.
and just like learning is like this is the fight that
Yeah, I mean,
house divided. Do cats have hands?
People ask me and my boyfriend, how often people get in fights when you're in a long-term relationship. I don't know, like once every couple of years for us, if we don't count these arguments about whether our cats have hands or feet. So every couple of years we have a fight. So, but anyway, okay. So that's interesting. So a wyvern doesn't have the front paws.
I think so. I think that's the idea.
Okay. So it has the big old dragon wings.
Right. We were talking about Geryon.
Yeah. And Geryon has like a poisonous stinger at the end.
Yes,
like at the end of his tail. Yeah.
So he's got some scorpion stuff going on. He's got some dragony stuff going on.
Yeah, and he's a bunch of different animals all put together.
Yeah. And specifically, I've been looking, like, as I've been reading, it describes him as having the face of an honest or a just man.
Yeah, I wonder what that means.
I think that's because we're going down into the circle of fraud, right? So if this is a creature that, like, he has a pretty face, but like behind him is like a scorpion's tail.
Gotcha.
Right?
So he belongs to that circle, we think.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's a fraudster.
Yeah. But again, like Dante, like Geryon is already its own thing. Like, call him something else. Like, just make him a chimera. Like,
But how do we, if we want someone to be a fraud,
or a manticore, or
right? But if we want someone to be a fraud, right? How would we get that across with one person who has 3 different faces?
Yes. I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
Sorry, Dante.
No.
You burnt. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So that's what he looks like, right? And so we get a look at this guy. This is interesting. So Dante, rather than like the beast appears and then we hop on the beast's back and we descend, it's like we have all this tension of like, oh, the beast is going to come. The beast is going to come. And then he shows up. And before we hop on the beast's back, Virgil's like, hey, look at that like collection of folks over there. Go talk to them, right? Like, I don't know what Virgil has to do. Like, if he's got to like talk to Geryon for a bit. It's like, hey, just so you know, like, you got to take this guy on your back. And
he's alive, etc.
Yeah,
all the stuff we've been saying and then we stop saying all of a sudden.
Right. Oh, so like to save time, it's like, hey, I'm going to do that thing that everyone's tired of hearing. You go talk to these other people.
You go talk to your sodomite friends.
Yeah, right.
Because frankly, I've talked to enough of them.
Yeah.
this trip through.
Oh, yeah. But yeah. So before they leave, Dante's got to go over and talk to this group of sinners who are constantly trying to like brush off the flames and the burning sand of the desert, right? And Dante doesn't recognize any of them, but he sees that each of them has this little like money pouch on their necks, each with like a specific color and emblem, right? There's a yellow pouch with a blue lion, a red pouch with a white goose, and a white pouch with a blue pig. These are all crests of like highly esteemed Christian Florentine families, right? And these people are guilty of usury.
So I'm assuming these crests are like real families.
They have to be, right? Because like I looked for them and I couldn't find anything. And I'm guessing that's just, the sands of time have kind of like completely erased. But like early readers of Dante must be like, there's the blue pig, right? Like I know who that is, right? Like we're gonna see the the chevron logo or something like that. Like we know what that is, right?
Our families don't have those anymore.
Right.
Right. And if we get just enough money, like just a little bit of money where you're not rich, but you can kind of have things, you might have a house with a name on it, like the Wyoming.
Yeah.
or Eastern Falls. Yeah. Just come visit me up at Eastern Falls.
Yeah. Or Casa de
Casa de Relaxo.
Yeah. Right. But we don't have these. We don't have the the coat of arms or
not at all.
I mean, I guess if you were really, really like you wanted to, you could go back and like trace your lineage and find out what your coat of arms used to be.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, like blue lion, white goose, blue pig. Right.
Okay.
If any of you out there are one of those, just know that back in the day, your relatives were guilty of usury. And sodomy, I guess. But that's okay. But yeah,
who wasn't a sodomite in 1200s Florence? That's the real problem.
I ask you. Methinks Dante doth protest too much. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. Getting back to usury, which is a sin. No. I think we said before, usury is the lending of money at very high interest rates, right? And I think we joked that it was like, oh, Dante probably has a lot of debt or something like that, right? We all hate like interest rates, right? But Dante considers it violence against art specifically because humans were meant to be artists, right? They were like supposed to be little versions of God, right? Making their own creations, right? And making their living through the work of their own hands, right? However, usurers just make money from other money.
Right. So again, in this hierarchy that he set up, like God is once removed from nature, so the divine, and then from the divine you create nature, and then from that 1 degree removed is art, the recreation of nature or the recreation of divine.
Yeah.
So where does money come in all of this place? Like where does capitalism, before they had that term for it?
Right.
But usury was forbidden in all 3 of the Abrahamic religions very early on.
Oh.
And back then that just meant any interest whatsoever. So now we say like usury is high interest, but the idea, it is anti. Well, I don't know how it plays out in Judaism and Islam, but it is anti-Christian, right? You're like, hey, I need help to build my business or to build my farm or to pay off my debts or whatever. Can you lend me money? And then we say, well, yes, but at even 0.5% interest, right? That's anti-Christian just by the very nature of it, right? Like anti-Christ, what would Christ do is what I mean. What was Christ do? Right.
See,
Christ would give you the money.
He would give you them, yeah.
Right.
He would give you the money. He would give you the house, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But so that changes because, as economies become more complicated, you cannot have a modern economy, or even a Renaissance economy without interest.
Right.
That just does not work because things get more complicated. And so in the time of the Middle Ages, you would have Christians who were saying, hey, we're forbidden from doing any interest. That's really bad. So they would give that job to...
Oh.
Right. The Jews, right?
Right.
So they're like, we're not allowed to make any money from interest because that's a sin. But we need that in a complicated world economy. We need to have interest. And we need to have money lending because you can't have any money lending in the modern economy without interest. So we will enlist the Jews to do that, which is providing this really valuable, need, for our economy. But we will hate you for it, and we will create these, these slanders that Jews are all usurers by their very nature, even though that's a job that we've allowed them to do, right?
Fucking that. Where's our circle for hypocrisy?
Right, but all of these myths that we have, right, that Jews control the world money supply is what was
these
created
false allegations
for,
and all these,
created for that was a pocket where they could actually exist within medieval society. That was given to them, ceded to them is probably the better term.
Forced into. They were forced into like that market.
Right.
Oh my God! And then geez. See, and this just goes to like prove my point that I was talking about earlier, where it's like, they talk about usury being a sin, and yet we still have it, and we've like forced an entire group of people to do this dirty work for us that we all hate, and then we hate them for it, right? And then, but how can you, with a straight face, then persecute like another group of people because the Bible says so, when you're literally like it's all made up, folks, and it's and people using it to. I'm glad, Keenan, in your Inferno, you got those people who are like using, like those mega church people who are
those jet setters,
yeah.
Yeah. So this similar like seeding of this industry in medieval economies to the Jews is actually very similar to what happens when the movie studio system is founded. So if you were, let's say, so the people who founded the movie studio industry in Hollywood in the 1920s, like early 1920s, late 1910s, they were largely Jews who were the sons of immigrants, or they themselves were immigrants, right? And they had come to America and founded these companies like furriers, glove makers, etc. And so what happens, if you are a family that has made it rich off of your own work, you might have a son or a daughter who then wants to get into the arts instead of going into the fur business or what have you, right? So you have enough privilege because of the money you have to get into the arts. But when these Jewish families were in the East Coast and they were in New York and Montreal and Boston, if they were Jews, they were usually forbidden from getting into the arts as business people. So like it was an anti-Semitic sort of rule, like, oh, you want to open an art gallery? Absolutely not, right? You're an immigrant, you're a Jew. You want to get into book publishing, you want to become a fashion designer. It's one thing if you're a furrier, but to be a fashion designer, no.
Right.
So then at the same time, they had the emergence of the movies, and the movies at that time were seen as a very low art. They were for immigrants and sailors, and they were seen as really disreputable. So yeah, if you're the son of a Jewish tanner immigrant in Montreal and you want to get into arts, all the arts are closed to you except for this new dirty, filthy medium of the movies. And so that's where they tended to gravitate. And then similar to this story about like usury being this excuse to attack the Jews. So now we again have a new 20th century conspiracy theory that the Jews control the media, because that was the only place that they were allowed to work. They were
forced into it.
Yeah. So the Jews take over the movies because that's ceded to them, and then that becomes radio and television, and that's why we have such Jewish representation amongst like the business people who control the media, and it's economics. It's not a huge conspiracy like a cabal you have to decode.
Unravel.
It is just economics history.
Yeah. See, folks. Yeah. Whew.
Tell your grandma that.
Yeah, there you go.
When she starts telling you her nonsense.
Yeah. Grandma.
So that's usury.
Yeah, that's
usury. Where we are here.
Right. And so now we're back to Geryon. They got to hop on top of Geryon. And Virgil actually makes Dante sit up in front so that the tail won't sting him.
Oh, that's nice.
That's terrifying. Like this fair-faced like monster, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a tail that's gonna like stab you in the back. Like it's not gonna sting you, it's going to impale you. Yeah.
That's true. Don't worry about the poison.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have a hole through you that's like, oh boy, yeah. Yeah, but okay, so once they're on Geryon's back.
And it's lucky for this version that there's only one back of Geryon as opposed to three. Right. And only one head.
Yeah. In many ways he's simplified it. Yeah.
Right.
And there's only one, so he's not a chatterbox. Yeah. But yeah, so Geryon lifts off and begins to circle downward into the depths of the next circle and the next canto. Actually, I lied. We get a little bit of the ride downward, and Dante describes them like wheeling and circling and always descending as he holds tight to the monster's back. And then they land as soon as they do, Geryon flies away. So now he's Gary gone.
Nice.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. So now we are in Canto 18, Circle 8.
Yeah.
It's a new circle, guys. Yay!
We have any music for the fraud circle?
The fraud circle. I don't know. What's a good fraud song? Like
I don't know.
Like it's just those that carnival music. No, that's the gladiators.
That's the gladiators.
We did that. What's a carny like the Calliope? I'll figure it's like, step right up, folks, and get your fortunes read. And here's that game of shells or the game of cups or whatever.
Yeah, I guess at some point that music must not have had that connotation that you're being tricked, right? That must have given the opposite feeling. That, these are people I could trust.
Yeah, at some point, Keenan, circus music implied joy. And not creepy clowns or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Scary, creepy. I was trying to, when I tried to find like royalty-free circus music, it was like, did you mean royalty-free creepy circus music? It's like, no!
No. There was only chorophobia, the fear of clowns. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no chorophilia for people like clowns.
Yeah. Yeah, right in, folks. Did you ever love clowns? Did anybody ever love clowns? Yeah. Okay, but yeah, no. We're in the circle of fraud, right? And we have 10 different ditches or bulges where types of sinners are grouped according to their type of fraud. This is what Dante calls the malebolge, right? Which means evil pockets.
I love it.
Yeah, right? But just the name malebolge sounds like another dish that I kind of want, right? And it's like a calzone, It's like it's a pocket of like dough, and inside is all the the sauces and the cheeses and the meats and everything like that. It's like, it's like another malebolge.
Right.
Yeah.
Evil pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the,
and then they have the ones you buy at the store. You get a microwave and they're, and then you burn your lip when you bite into them. It's like, the malebolge.
Oh, but these evil pockets, the ladies of ancient Rome really resent that their togas don't have any pockets.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'll take a dress with evil pockets anytime.
Yes. It's a malebolge, yes. Is that a malebolge in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? No, the malebolge is my pocket. I was like, oh.
Delightfully sinful.
Yes. But yeah, that always gets me. Like you hear something and it sounds so cool in Latin, right? And then you translate it and it's really generic. And I think just like as a society, we've all sort of decided that if it's in Latin, it's sort of not meant to be translated. It should just be that cool sounding thing. Right. Like that's where it stops, right? Like with any other language, like we try to dig and we try to find the meaning with the Latin, right? But I feel like that's where we should stop with the like malebolgia, right?
Carpe diem.
Yeah, carpe diem, right? Like if they had because in the English translations of Dante's Inferno, right? We don't say like, and then they came to the evil pockets, right? This is the malebolgia.
Malebolgia.
Yeah. So okay. So we're now in the malebolgia, which also form a series of moats around an inverted castle at the very center, right? This quote unquote castle is the deepest pit in all of hell. But before we get there, we need to traverse the malebolgia. In this canto, we walk along the edges of the first two evil pockets. See? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? So remember, folks, we're in the circle of fraud, which Dante deems more sinful because unlike the mindless violence or the self-serving lust and gluttony, fraud requires you to understand what goodness and honesty are so that you can trick people, right? So it feels a little bit more deliberate, like an act of malice, right? You are fully aware that you're doing it, right? You even have to work in order to keep up the facade. Yeah, so I mean, let's remember, right? Geryon with his beautiful face, hiding, that scorpion's tail, right? Yeah.
No one who's beautiful could ever be a good person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're beautiful, you are already sus.
You heard it first here on the Exorcist Minute.
Yep.
If you're pretty, we don't want you. Go listen to some other podcasts.
Yeah. Right.
No, please like us.
No, you please like us and subscribe.
Especially if you're pretty, please. Oh, God.
Yes, please.
No, wait. All of our listeners, the Exorcist Minute, are beautiful and cool.
You're all beautiful,
You're all
on
beautiful
the inside.
And cool and smart.
Yeah.
And the outside.
And the outside, yes. And by the way, listeners, have you all collectively lost weight? Because... okay.
They've all been working out.
Yeah, they've all been working out, right? Yeah. Just like I don't know how many calories rolling your eyes burns, but we make sure you do a lot of that here. Yeah. Okay. So back to the evil pockets, right? the malebolgia, right? So in this first pit, in this first malebolgia, we see two lines of naked souls that are being herded in opposite directions, right? Dante actually likens this to a time in history when the authorities of Rome mandated two-way foot traffic across a narrow bridge leading into Rome during the Jubilee celebration, right? So now, looking down into this pit, Dante recognizes one of these souls.
Of course he does.
Of course he does. This is Venedico Caccianemico, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, good. Got it, right?
That pause and delay in the middle is how they said it back then. Caccianemico.
Wait, are you sure that's your name? Yeah, of course I'm sure. And then the calliope music plays. It's like, yeah, that's me, Caccianemico. Yeah. Yeah, right. But yeah, so this guy Venedico Caccianemico, right? That's the funniest thing about him because apparently,
right.
He sold his sister to the Marquis of Este for a favor,
right.
And I'm all for him being down here. This is good. Yeah, and as we go deeper, we the readers, folks, we can divide the types of sinners we see in Inferno into groups, right? We got general sinners, right? They have no names. They're just like gluttons or sloths or lustful people or greedy people, right?
Yeah, like their sin is their identity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Then we got specific sinners who have like slighted Dante in some way, right? Like either him or his politics, right? Then we got like famous historical sinners like Alexander or Cleopatra. Then we got less famous but still real people who did real specific horrible things, and we can be like, oh yes, you do belong down here, right? So these sinners specifically, in this malebolge, they trafficked in other people's bodies, right? They tricked them, they coerced them, or they used them in some way, and for that reason, they are now forced to march up and down in these 2 rows of traffic as they are whipped by horned demons. Fantastic! I love it. If there is a hell, I would hope that these people go to that and get special attention.
Right. Yeah, sorry to be hung up on it because it is a terrible story, right, of this woman, Gisela Bella, who is sold into by the brother. But this idea that like is Dante pro 2-way traffic on this bridge or anti 2-way traffic on this bridge? Like,
I thought you were going to talk about human traffic, but no,
no, because
he's talking about foot traffic.
Is he being like a Luddite? Like, oh, this new thing that they did, this new technology of like people on the left go this way and people on the right go the other way. Like, is he like, oh, I hate that? Like, it's destroying humanity. Like this new technology, or is he just like, yeah? Why is that part of the story? You know?
Oh no, I think he's trying to give us a visual. He's like, these people, like they're so packed and they're so like, I think what he was trying to get across was that that it's a really, really crowded traffic situation.
Okay.
And he's like, like when they do that thing on the bridge.
Okay,
right?
okay. So he's not like the nanny state, right, who separated us into this, like, and doesn't let us walk where we want to walk or whatever. And
right.
I thought this was a free city state in Rome, actually.
I think it's a diss on the people more than it's a diss on the bridge. He's like saying there's so many of them and they're so numerous that they have to have this system where it's like, on the right and on the left and stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I'm in favor of 2-way traffic. That's what I'm saying. Like that has borne out over the last 800 years.
Yeah.
This works.
It seems to work. And like with driving and everything, I mean, do whatever you want on either side, right? You can be on the left or you can be on the right side or whatever, right? But just as long as everybody's doing the same thing, right? Yeah. But no, I think he's making a pun on human trafficking with these guys doing the foot trafficking. And that's as far as that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it is, I wouldn't put it in the circle of hell, but like you're supposed to stand on one side of the escalator, and form a little line so that people can pass you. And I don't think that I know which side. I don't think anybody knows which side anymore. Like that's just fallen so far out of the etiquette of like what it's like at an escalator that now it's just impossible for anybody to walk up an escalator if they want to be walking. They have to stand there.
People still do stop, right? And they've made their decision on which side they're supposed to stop on,
right?
And it's always different from the person like a few steps up,
Right. So I don't know what the rules are anymore. The society is broken down.
Yeah. But yeah, so also in this circle we got Jason of Argonaut's fame. Got the golden fleece and all that. But he also seduced and then abandoned 2 ladies, right? First Medea, from whom he seduced, had children with, and then betrayed, and then Hypsipyle, whom he impregnated and abandoned. So yeah, he's down there too.
I don't know her. I know Medea because she gets her own play.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently is the bad guy.
Yeah, I had to look up Hypsipyle, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know her.
He did that to her too.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so after Medea, so you know Medea does, right?
Oh yeah. I know what Medea does.
Medea's
right?
like, oh, you gave me these kids, and I'm going to kill them. I love the kids so much, but I know that you love the kids so much, so I'm willing to kill our kids and show them to you in order to get back at you.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sure she's down here too, as well.
But then he's like, oh, that sucks. I'll just find a new wife and do the same thing with her. So
yeah, that's.
Sorry, Medea. No one learns lessons. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the eternal just Jason going off and doing the same thing. Right? Yeah. So maybe she's not down here because she kind of like damned herself.
Right.
But
we certainly have people at home who are like, well, what happened to the fleece?
Yes.
Stop talking about these kids. Who cares
Where's
about
the
these kids?
fleece?
Where's the fleece made of gold?
Yeah. Yeah, that becomes strangely unimportant. Yeah. But yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah. When your wife is killing you and then riding off on a dragon given to her by Apollo to send you an ironic note. All of a sudden that golden fleece doesn't seem so important anymore.
You know. Anyway, yeah, so so we got Virgil and Dante, right? And they're walking along, and before they even reach the next ditch or the next malebolge, right? They can hear and smell the flatterers, right? That's the next one, right?
Right.
And they're making they're making these like snorting, grunting sounds, like pigs, right? And the whole valley now smells like shit. And Dante takes another jab at someone in the pit, right? Like he says that he saw someone whose head was so covered in shit that he could not tell if he was a clergyman or a layman, right? Meaning that like the shit was covering like the top part of the head that the clergymen like they usually shave, right? Right? It's like, you're so covered in shit, I can't tell if you're a priest or not. That's that modern translation.
Thank you for doing that. I hadn't put that together.
But like to me, this is another like perfect contrapasso, right? Like I told you, my favorite curse word is bullshit,
and
right?
mine is fuck shit.
Yes, right. So we got in the Venn diagram of curse words, like shit is in the center, right? Right. And I love the idea that all the pretty words spoken by the flatterers are like not just worthless, but when you get right down to it, like the intention behind those pretty words, they're repugnant, they're disgusting, right? It's literal shit, right? I love it.
Yeah, Lester, that was a really, really great description of that, and your voice sounds fantastic today.
Thank you.
I just want you to know that I think that.
Oh, well, I just want you to know, Keenan, that I think that, I couldn't ask for a better co-host. And by the way, have you lost weight?
No.
No? Well, there we go. Well, you know what, Keenan?
But thank you.
You don't need to. Because you're perfect just the way you are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
And when you cough, when you're sick doing a podcast, it just makes me just realize how much you care about us and our listeners.
Oh, yeah.
And your coughs are just nicer to hear than any other podcast host I've ever heard who performs when they're sick.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Makes me wish I was sick.
Oh, wow.
So I could be more like you.
Oh, and Keenan, you know what? I mean, I was thinking of editing this out, but like, you know what? I might just keep it because when I heard you eating during our show,
which you love,
which I absolutely adore.
You adore it.
I mean, like, listen to him. He's meeting his biological needs.
It's Lester's favorite thing to have to work around my gluttony.
No, Keenan, it's not just your it's your gluttony directly in front of the mic.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. I tell you, the hours that I edit, and I'm just like, oh, there it is again. You know what? I love listening to all of this.
Oh,
no,
boy.
I'm kidding.
That's funny.
Yes. And listeners, write in and tell us what you think of when we announce our own jokes as funny on the air. We waste precious minutes just laughing at our own jokes. Oh, and Keenan, the snorting that both of us do. I'm sure the listeners, they just love that.
They love it because it gets right up into the upper registers where
yeah,
they're not used to hearing that in their headphones so close to them, so they're just delighted.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Whew. Jeez. Okay. Anyway, that was flattery, guys. That was
No, they know that. They're really smart.
They're really smart. Yeah, they know.
They understood that.
Yeah, we don't have to explain it. You know,
No,
we're not in that circle, the mansplainer circle. It's like, yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
This isn't This American Life. Our listeners are smart.
Oh, God.
I do need to clarify. I love This American Life. I was just trying to think of a podcast that was famous that we could make fun of without damaging it all.
Right.
Because if we mentioned a smaller podcast, that would just be mean. But...
Right. We got to punch up. We punch up here in the Exorcist Minute. Right.
This American Life is a national treasure. All right.
Yeah. Which is easy for us because any punch we make is up because of where we are.
We're in a river of shit of our own shit. We're stewing in our own shit.
Oh God! Is this it? Is this the podcast? Is this the episode, Keenan, where we just lose it?
No. We gotta talk about Dante. We're talking about Dante.
Shit, I got a bloody nose. Hang on.
Oh my God, no! From all that flattery, you got a bloody nose?
Yes.
Oh Jesus!
Hang on. I'm trying to stem it. I have some tissues here.
Oh no! I'm sorry to laugh. We broke you.
But it's flowing.
Oh,
like
God.
the river Phlegethon.
No. Stop saying Phlegethon.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. This happens because I have really weak, like nose tissue. But really strong, stubborn snot. So when I and you know, like when we laugh, I tear up and my nose gets runny, and then I have to blow my nose, and I blow my nose, and I just wreck the inside of my nose.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm glad you went and took care of that, even though it is much better radio for you to talk through it here. But we went so far up our own asses that we gave Lester a nosebleed.
I mean, like, this is like if my body was an invert, like just turn my body upside down, right? Up my own ass and like all the way up to like we hit my nose. We hit the inside of my nose.
That's circle 8, yeah.
Yeah. God.
Well, are you okay now?
Yeah. Well, can you hear the tissue in my nose?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. All right. Da-da-da-da. Okay, flattery. Yeah. God, we spent yes, okay. All right. Okay. So back to Dante, right? So he recognizes someone in this pit as well. This is Alessio Intermine, right? Of Lucca, who was apparently one of the Guelphs, which, remember, that's actually Dante's faction,
right?
Which I find really interesting, right? Because we usually see members of the other faction in Dante's Hell, the one that he's against, the Ghibellines, right? But this guy, like, not much is known about him, right? Like, most of the internet connects him to this passage of Inferno. So I guess he's more famous as a character in Dante's work.
Right.
But yeah, this guy admits that he is down here for flattery, and that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting they don't do anything in there. They're just like, they're too busy, I guess, drowning in shit to like flatter or anything else. Like, and he barely gets it out. Like, yeah, we're down here for flattery.
And they're up there. It's like Addery. What's Addery? And Virgil has to go, no. He said flattery. Right? It's flattery.
And it's not a river of shit for the people who are flatulent.
Right. It's not flattery, right? But yeah, so Virgil wants Dante to really pay attention to these two pouches, right? Specifically because these are sins which are specifically deceptive and insidious, right? Like these take time and calculation and a heartless manipulation of the victim's own feelings of love or trust or safety, right? So yeah, so now we are in Canto 19. We are in the penultimate circle. And we are halfway through this poem. How is that possible? We have this circle and one more, and yet it appears that as we go further down, Dante has like a bit more to say
about circle 8 specifically.
Yeah. Right. So Dr. Frederick Putnam, great name, notes that Dante devotes almost one half of the Inferno to describing the 10 smaller circles that together make up the 8th circle of hell. These malebolge, these evil pouches, are reserved for liars and frauds of every stripe, from seducers and sexual predators to panderers so far, right? So we're still in circle 8, that is the circle of fraud, and this is the third pouch, the third malebolge. And this canto opens in a different way. It opens with the writer Dante loudly admonishing Simon Magus, or Magus, a biblically famous fraudster, right? A humbug, right? He styles himself as a wizard or a prophet, or in one story, he claims to be the second coming of Jesus, right? But yeah, like the reason Dante's talking about him here is that he also famously offered to buy the power of the Holy Spirit from the apostles, right? And that's where we get the sin of simony, right? Which is the buying and the selling of church offices or sacred things, right? And now it's an umbrella term for like charging of money for like spiritual services, like a baptism or communion or something like that.
And this will be, I don't know the history of the Reformation enough, but this will be one of the biggest parts of the Reformation, like simony and indulgences and that kind of thing.
Right. Martin Luther specifically calling him out for doing this stuff.
Right. I'm just wondering if I'm like, if the version I've heard in like history classes too is not nuanced enough, right? Like if there's some other thing, I don't know enough about it, but yeah, but that's what they were attacking. So this is, it wasn't just like Martin Luther all of a sudden going, what's a problem is simony. They've been talking about it for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years before that.
It's been a problem. Yeah. And, so for this crime, souls are punished in this third malebolge by being buried head first in the earth with only their feet poking out on fire.
Yeah, it's like a backwards day at the beach.
Yes. Oh, yeah, right, because you're walking on the beach and the sand is really hot. You're like, ow, 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 ow.
Oh, I was saying, you bury you up to your neck, and it's like, oh, it's so funny. We buried you up to your neck.
Oh,
if you did the opposite way.
Yeah,
that's
actually,
no fun, yeah.
Yeah. So it's both ways. It's a backwards beach day. Yeah. So, it sounds like a corporate work holiday thing,
Like we're taking you to the beach, but you got to bring your laptops.
It's backwards beach day. There's still a dress code in backwards beach.
There's still
day.
a dress code, and
you still got to dress. You got to wear a shirt. And
you need to file those metric reports.
Yeah. But you can do it while getting a tan. Backwards beach day.
Right. And you didn't bring your own charger. That's your fault.
Yeah, that is your fault. Right. Yeah. Be sure to bring sunscreen. We will not be providing any, or any umbrellas or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is lunch provided, but it is at the same time as our mandatory meeting across the way.
Uh-huh. Why did we have a mandatory meeting at lunch?
It was the only time we could book the conference room.
Yeah. Because it's crazy kooky backwards beach day. Everything is topsy-turvy. I'm wearing my shoes on my hands. What?
All right. So
reports that are normally due on Monday are due on Friday? What's that all about? Friday of this week, we're saying. Not
next week. Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
God. No. And instead of everybody stealing office supplies and taking them home, people go to your house and steal office supplies and bring them back.
I was wondering where all these little K-cup coffee things were ending up. Look at all these sticky notes. Yeah.
Instead of casual Fridays, we have formal Saturday and Sundays.
Okay. All right, back to Simony. These guys buried headfirst in the sand with their feet on fire, right? So Dante notices one spirit who seems to be having a way hotter time than everybody else. And so they shimmy on down the steep bank and they go to talk to him. This turns out to be Pope Nicholas III, a former pope guilty of simony. Right? The Pope explains that he is not alone in this hole, but is, in fact, the topmost in a stack of popes that goes deep down into the ground, right? Yeah. Nicholas goes on to say that Pope Boniface, the eighth, will soon replace him at the top and push him further down.
Right. Oops, all popes.
Oops, all popes, right? This is popes on a... No, that doesn't work. No. I was going to say popes on a rope, but there's popes in a hole. Yeah. Popes in a hole sounds like one of those like folksy like food items that you can get.
Right.
Like give me you know a toad in a hole. That's what I'm thinking of, right? Or pigs in a blanket, right?
It's at a diner or something, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're famous for our popes in a hole.
Yeah, give me 2 popes in a hole and smear them.
Yeah, right. Make sure the feet are on fire, right? That's like extra spicy, right?
So is the Pope? Is this Pope Nicholas III? Is he? He's not face first like everybody else.
No, he is face first.
So he's talking. So so Dante's talking to his feet like a sock puppet?
Yeah, no, Dante's talking to him, and see, Dante. This is like, I don't know if he thought about this or not, but I imagine Pope Nicholas III. So it's like, oh, who are you? And he's like, that's what's going on, right? And somehow Dante is able to glean from that this is Pope Nicholas III, right? But no, he's as far as I understand, he is talking with his mouth.
That's how I understand. Okay, so I'm glad that's how I read it as well. So yeah, so his feet are sticking out, but I like the idea of him pointing his feet at him like a hand puppet.
Oh yes, no.
Nodding along, or even like each of the feet have different like parts of the story.
Yeah. They're interrupting each other. Yeah. Oh, it's perfect.
Because you have all that time down there. That's how I would spend my time as a pope in the hole.
Yeah, right. The other thing, like Dante has these like conversations with people who are burning alive. And how are you not like down in hell just being like, oh! How can you answer any questions?
Right.
But yeah, it was like, oh no, tell me about I'm Pope Nicholas III, right? Down here, I get my feet are literally burning, right?
Right.
No.
Yeah, the other guy, he's got a mouthful of shit constantly. That's part of his deal, and then he's able to explain things.
Yeah. But yeah, so
the other pope. So maybe not every pope will end up in the hole, but Boniface, who screwed over Dante, he's going to end up there.
Yes. Right? Yes, right. And this is interesting, folks, because remember, like Dante was in the with the Guelphs, and the Guelphs were for the Pope, right? And anti Holy Roman Emperor, but I guess not all popes, right? Hashtag not all popes, right?
Right. The one pope turned against Italy towards Germany, the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah. And honestly, okay, I think this is the first time that we've seen Dante like this, right? So on recognizing him, Dante actually gets really mad here, right? He gives this guy a talking to, right? So far, like Dante has been like afraid. He has fainted a couple of times. Right. He's been moved to pity. He's fainted. He's held civil discourse with political rivals as they burn in flaming tombs from the waist down, right? He's fainted. But like this is the first. Thank you. That was rather delayed.
I didn't want to correct you. You did it so well. I thought you were just making a mistake.
See, folks, right? When you do a bad joke too well, it sounds like you're stupid.
No, you don't work over at This American Life.
Okay, but yeah. Where is he? He fainted, right?
He fainted his belief.
But this is the first time I think that we have seen him meet someone in hell and be like, you know what? Fuck you. And then go on a couple of pages more about how ashamed this guy should be, right? And so like you really get the feeling that like unlike the other sins, like which either affect everyone, like lust or gluttony, or like the heavier sins, like which maybe Dante has never experienced firsthand, right? Like he just knows that murderers and traffickers belong in hell. Actually, Dante might have seen his share of murder. I take that back, right? but like there's something about this guy, this Pope, that like really gets Dante and like gets to Dante, I mean, right? And I guess it's evident here. Like he's writing a narrative poem in which he goes to hell, purgatory, and heaven. Like this is something he cares deeply about. And so yeah, right, like a false prophet like this Pope is going to really rub him the wrong way.
Yeah, and then I can't quite wrap my head around, like I can't, as an American, I can't quite wrap my head around having a king or a queen, you know? Like can you imagine what that's really like to like everyone, says God bless the king, God save the king, and everything.
Like we can't even like I don't think you're alone, Keenan. Yeah. I think even countries that do have kings and queens, right, or emperors, or whatever, there's no longer that like fealty or Yeah, like that awe,
Right,
or
right.
that like you can say bad things about the king and queen, and and people it's like saying bad things about the president. It's like
Yeah.
even like the president used to like walk on water back in the day. Like
Yeah,
you don't
that's true.
say bad things about the president,
Right.
right? But now today it's like
Yeah, so I can't, but so I'm so far removed from that, and then to even be further removed of like living in Italy back when the popes were not just the head of the church, they were also kings on earth of the
yeah,
papal states, the papal lands and stuff, and like
right,
yeah, I can't imagine that, like, of having this guy who lives in Rome and then he makes decisions for you, and you live in Florence, which is a different country, and this
yeah,
guy like could potentially is like messing with the politics of your city, and now you've been sent away and you can't go back to your city because of something that a king did
right,
in a different country. Like yeah, this is pretty unfathomable, I think.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's like fuck you, fuck all of you, middle finger
Yeah,
down there, middle finger down,
right,
all of you down
yeah,
there,
right.
all the
Fuck
way
you,
down.
all of you. Right. Tell the is like what's the Pope right before you? It's like, oh, it's Pope so and so. It's like, well, tell him to fuck himself too.
Right, pass it
Pass it
down.
down. Yeah. Man.
Right. But then yeah, here we also get into like the because remember it's a period piece, right? So Dante's
Yeah.
writing this. He starts writing. It takes him a while to finish it. So he's done with it at around 1320 or so, right?
Right.
So then Boniface the eighth, we said, right? He's dead, and then he's going to be replaced by Papa C5, Pope Clement V,
Right.
right? So like these characters know who's going to come later.
Mhm.
And that all of them are going to be right because it's a period piece. It has the hindsight
Right.
of
Exactly.
history. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so then after he gives this guy like a tongue lashing,
Mhm.
right? It appears that he's all tuckered out, because the canto ends with Virgil picking him up and carrying him to the next malebolge, right? And I just like it's such a little, like we joked before about Dante being like the baby on the plane, right? And it's just like falling asleep,
Yeah.
and So Dante picks him up. This is like Dante's having a tantrum. He's like stamping by the Pope in the hall. He's like right,
And the little
he just
Pope foot just nodding, right? Like
yeah, right,
mhm.
right. And you and Virgil's like, it's like, are you tired, Dante? He's like,
No,
no, I'm not tired. It's like, do you wanna and he's trying to console him, and he's like, do you wanna go get some get some chocolate milk? He's like,
back at that river we were just at.
I wasn't thinking about that.
Like, where's this? Let me watch you get this chocolate milk before
I don't know.
before I drink it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fall for that one 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah. He wipes his mouth. But no, he's and he starts, but Virgil can tell because like as he's yelling, he right, he does that yawn, right, and he's still trying to shout, right, and this is when Virgil has like taken out his phone and he's recording, right, because you don't want to miss these moments, folks, right, because they grow up so fast, right, and you see Dante's just kind of like his eyes are closing and his head is nodding, and then he catches himself and he's up and he's flinging more curses at the Pope, and then and another thing, Nicholas, you son of a bitch, you. And then he falls, and right before he falls, like face first onto this guy's flaming feet, Virgil reaches out and catches him, and he gathers him up in his arms, and they walk out of this canto and into the next.
Right.
And this is the last page of Good Night Moon. This is like Good Night Hell, Good Night Malebolgia, Good Night Pope Nicholas III and your flaming feet. And good night, Dante. Right?
It's very relaxing when you read it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We should do like a one of those like on calm.com, right? Like the the Calm app where it's like the how they have like those sleep stories to help you go to sleep, right? And it's a reworked version of a fairy tale, right? But they make it like like very, very much. It's like Hansel and Gretel, right? The sleep story. And Hansel and Gretel came upon the gingerbread house, and Hansel said, "Let's eat this gingerbread house." And Gretel said, "No, it's 7 p.m. and that will be too much sugar in our system." Let's have some warm chamomile tea instead. And it was okay because the witch was vegan and she was also going to sleep in her own house. And so they all drifted to sleep.
She had a guest house made of chamomile tea.
with pillows made of sweet, with the softest, made of the softest down, and so Hansel and Gretel cozied up in separate beds, and they drifted off to sleep. And then the witch ate them. Because you can't change it too much, right?
No.
Yeah,
but that candy would have make them more alert and hyper, but the tea calms them down.
Yeah, right. Right. They settled into their last big sleep. But yeah, so that's what we would do for and Virgil and Dante left limbo and went into the circle of lust. And then you just hear it's like
welcome to the circle of lust.
Yes. It's ASMR and a sleep story, right? But it's so lust. We do such a good job describing the circle of lust that you can't sleep because you have a boner.
I don't know if the circle of lust is very sexy.
Well, no. Well, no, in the sleep story it is. Because it's not fraught, because that's going to keep you awake, right? No. It's the circle of lust, but everybody has already like completed their post-coital, so they're all very, very
very
sleepy.
relaxed.
Yes, right? Anyway, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so just one more quick thing here, right? This canto likely got Dante into some trouble, right? He's dissed the church a couple times before, but this is the first time he's taken a swing at a pope. Like unlike now, right? The popes of Dante's time were like you said, Keenan, almost like kings themselves, right? And I mean,
they were kings without saying.
Yeah, right. Like in anything, in everything but name, right?
Right. They owned the land. If you happen to live in a city that the popes owned, you were their subject.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I mean, I guess politics does still play a part today, but like it was way more interwoven into the fabric of society back then, right? Church and state were not separate and self-contained like tortellini. Rather, they were tangled and interwoven like fettuccine, right? It was a different time. And another thing, right? Like Dante likens Simon Magus and all Simonists, including this pope, to rapacious wolves, right? At the beginning of this canto. Now we've seen wolves a couple times before, right? The she-wolf at the beginning of the poem, right, is one of the three animals that block Dante from going up that mountain, right? So we got the wolf, we got the lion, and the leopard,
or the panther,
right? And then we got Plutus in the Circle of Greed, who sang the lovely rendition of Papa Satan, right? He's also a wolf, right? So Dante seems to be likening wolves to greed.
Right.
What's more, we can also look at this pope as a wolf in sheep's or shepherd's clothing, right? Like taking advantage of God's flock, right? Like he's fleecing them.
Right. Yeah, I was in a separate research. I forget why. Oh, just Halloween-y just stuff for werewolves, like where werewolves came from. And they were talking about in Western Europe, the wolf was usually the biggest apex predator in any given time if you were in a city near a forest. So the wolf is just about like the scariest ass thing you can think of.
Yeah,
that's why we were sort of focusing on the wolf. And so like them thinking of a wolf as rapacious, it seems like it's eating much more than its share. Like if a wolf is killing 2 or 3 sheep in a night, right, which we might do it, like the wolf can't eat 2 or 3 sheep, but it would kill. It would seem to the people like much more than it would need.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But yeah, and also, so this contrapasso, right, them being like buried, head first, right, with their feet poking out. This is also an inversion of Romans 10:15, which is actually quoting Isaiah 52:7. It always comes back to Isaiah. But it says, quote, "How beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news." So yeah, popes and priests are supposed to have beautiful feet. And here we see just their feet sticking out and on fire.
Can you imagine if you were writing a version of the Inferno today, right? If we had Lester's Inferno or Keenan's Inferno and we just put priests and popes in there, Like that would get us in a whole lot of trouble.
Interestingly, that would, right?
Mm-hmm.
When church and state are more separate today,
Mm-hmm.
and you are allowed, maybe even encouraged to, like question and mock authority, right?
Right.
Like, we make jokes about the president, we make jokes about the Queen of England or the king, well, the king now, we make jokes about all of our politicians and everything like that. But yeah, if we made like some jabs at popes today, like that might be, we would get in trouble.
People would be telling us, oh, we've gone too far, etc.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's weird.
And then, the Pope doesn't have, I mean, there's Vatican City, which is an independent country, and not all countries recognize it because it is, quite clearly not its own country. Like clearly is like the Italians like saying, okay, you're going to have this little bit of land and et cetera, and we're not going to go in there. You're going to have your own police, et cetera. But like it doesn't have all of the functioning parts of a country that has kept other people from recognizing it as such. So,
precisely.
Yeah. So it's hard for us today to think of. Yeah, there was a time when a gigantic portion of Italy, not just a small part of Rome, but the entirety of Rome and its surrounding areas, and all the way to the other side of Italy, into the Adriatic. That was a kingdom where the Pope was the ruler.
Yeah, well, but yeah. So, folks, that is Canto 19, and that is all of mine. All right, well, that was great. Thanks, past Lester and Keenan. Well, folks, I have been Lester Ryan Clark, both in the past and in the present. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I am immune to the bounds of time, and I've been Keenan Diaz, and you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd at Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at True Story FM. Like us on Instagram and join our Facebook listener group, Dante's Ninth Circle Sushi and Karaoke Bar, or feel free to drop us a message at thedevilsdetails@gmail.com. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5-pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media helps our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, folks. Until next week, love and hisses. Mwah!
Mwah.